So this channel is called ZEROGOkin, and yet I haven't reviewed a Goken. I'm also wearing a JoJo mask, yet I haven't reviewed anything JoJo related either. In case you got a minor stroke in the last few seconds, we're looking at a Goken today, the DH Gokin Kotetsu Jeeg. Kotetsu Jeeg is about a guy who fucking dies and is turned into a head. I only saw Kotetsu Jeeg. I watched it in a hospital after getting butt surgery. That anime had a fucking awesome opening song that is probably my favorite Jam Project song, which is saying a lot. But that's it. I'll be honest, I don't really care much for the Jeeg material I've read and watched. I believe the manga is for children, and I didn't really care for it. The company that made this, Alphamax, gave what I assume is their first go at a Goken, and the results here are rather middling. Considering that the company has never made a Goken like this before, and for the most part makes titty figs, this is understandable. However, while that does explain it, it doesn't excuse it. And if you're wondering if I have any of those titty figs, I would like it if you didn't put me on the same level as the rest of you weeaboo degenerates. Of course I do.
That's a penis!
Also, yes, this is where that piece came from. Stop asking. That's a box. It looks really nice. This is stupid. Probably your first impressions of this are, what the fuck are those colors? Well, my boy, that is Jeeg. I understand that is a bit weird, but I don't mind it. I quite like the vibrant colors here, although I'm not a big fan of this blue. It looks a bit cheap to me. Design-wise, Kotetsu Jeeg is probably one of my least favorite Go-Nagai robots, but I still do like it. And this is much like a Future X Gokin Jeeg, which Future X Gokin is a line that does very nice redesigns of classic mechas, and I quite obviously really enjoy it. But unlike the actual unreleased Future X Gokin Jeeg, this doesn't look like complete shite. I might change my mind once there are clearer images, but I'm more than content with this being my Future X Gokin Jeeg, because I think that this looks fantastic. And while I'm more partial to this design than the Future, I don't really like how the legs look. But much like my opinion of a Stoffel, as long as the upper half looks good, I don't really care what they have at the bottom. Well, that's actually completely untrue. I wouldn't care about this character if they had a vagina. And I just invalidated the point I was trying to make. Which is fine, because the DH Gokin Panzeroid is a thing. Now my biggest problem with how this looks is gone. Oh, right. If for some reason you think that the arbitrary scores I give have any weight, they don't. 8 out of 10 for looks. Also, speaking of weight, the figure does have die cast, but is rather light. As you saw, aside from the strangely missing horizontal action on the waist, the range of articulation is actually quite decent. But as your bleeding ears can probably tell, the joints don't really feel very nice, which is rather unfortunate. Future Goken here. If you look in the manual, apparently these parts are on ball joints. They're just very tight. That also looks like it might break, so yeah, I'm not doing that. You don't get a lot, but you do get some large redesigned Jeeg armaments. All these look fucking cool, and none of them look fucking stupid. As much as I like having complete sets, thank you, Alphamax, for not including these, because I don't need this to be any more expensive. See these? They're all rather sharp, and this feels really weird to say considering what the last review was, but I'm actually starting to enjoy the pain. It's a good pain, as the fingers are articulated. The figure doesn't need optional hands, but it does come with these knuckle bomber hands, which to attach you just remove. You know what? The figure costs $300, and from this video I'm probably gonna make $3. So there's how it's supposed to work, but the figure does this fine on its own, and as you've seen, the figure has some very tight ball joints. Attach this, and these. To attach to the arm, remove tab. The mock drills are about as long as Jeeg here is tall, and these look sick. The effects also look very nice, and you can take them off. Allegedly. Attach these, and one of these. Attaching to the arm works the same. Very nice. This is something I don't think that the original Jeeg has, unless I'm wrong about that, but who cares, it looks cool as fuck. Take these off. Works the same as attaching to the arm. Tab into hole. It's a bit too heavy for the boy, so you're going to need the stand. This is a very cool stand that is very modular. I personally like having it like this. Also, this stand is only included in the first release. The second release does get it. It's just this ugly gray. As you probably saw, the figure can be disassembled. This is not a bug, it's a feature. It's not just a feature, but it's also a characteristic of Kotetsu Jeeg. A lot of super robots have gimmicks, and the gimmick of Kotetsu Jeeg is that it is formed by combining parts that are launched out of the big shooter with Cyborg Boy Shiba Hiroshi transforming into the head. This is known as build up. The implementation here isn't very creative. A lot of Jeeg figures tend to use magnets. However, it is a gimmick that I don't really care very much for, so I'm glad they didn't go the magnet route here. The mock drills here not only have LEDs for the rocket effects, but are also motorized. I was dead sure at least one of these didn't work, because I heard that this one had some quality control problems. I think I'm lucky for once and got a good one. Oh, by the way, this uses the usual LR44s. As for the rest of these, you might have guessed they also use LR44s, which would be convenient, makes sense, and also is not how this works. So make sure you're armed, because you're gonna need to go into some dark fucking alleyway to find some obscure-ass batteries. That's amazing. To put in the batteries, take this off, raise this, there you go. A lot of you probably thought that these red parts were the eyes. Well, guess what? You're wrong, you stupid piece of shit. Okay, no. The LEDs look alright. That being said, I don't particularly care for LEDs or gimmicks on figures in general, but as LEDs don't tend to detract from the figure visually, I don't mind them. However, using LEDs for the eyes tends to remove the color, and I really don't like that. I forgot to get 2 of these, and I'm not going back to that dark fucking alleyway. So this is alright, we're moving on. Aqua, Mazinger, Mazinger, Mazinger. Overall, as much as I think this looks really cool, for the price of a fisting
is $300.
this should be a lot better. However, if you like how this looks, don't want to do much posing, and also don't mind the price, you can find either one secondhand, or I believe they still have the second round of pre-orders up for this. It's even cheaper than when I paid for it. What the fuck?
Alright, you can go now.